Okay, so normally when we're doing a character from scratch, Puppet Producer has no idea where the pivot point is. I mean, I can select this upper arm and just click it. It'll still do the conversion for me, but since it didn't have a registration point, it just threw my pivot over there, and I'm expected to just basically place it where I want it. Of course, let me rewind back a little bit. When we're assembling a character, I can go ahead and just create my sprites, and it doesn't really matter where my registration point is. You know, I can assemble my character after the fact here, and you know, when I start rigging it with Puppet Producer, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Notice how Puppet Producer always kind of looks for that registration point. So one of the things that we can do here with this command is, so after this has been done, I remove the pivot point, just the one that I need to work on, and I'm going to select it and use this transform options here, because this gives me the little transformation point that I can use to kind of test how my puppet is going to, you know, rotate. So this allows me to kind of get a better idea of how I want this, you know, this part to move around. So once I'm kind of satisfied as to how I want this body part to move, I know that my pivot point should be right there, even though technically it is way over here on the left hand side. So with the with this transformation point placed in that section there, I can just go ahead and run it, and notice that now it's right there. So even when I go here and just kind of view it, the little X, the registration point, it's right there where it needs to be. So now when I go with Puppet Producer and I tell it go ahead and rig it for me, it places it right where it needs to be. So same thing can be done here. So if after the fact I had rigged up this character and I wanted to manually adjust it, well, then I would have to come in here, double click, go into edit and place mode, then go outside, then place this back in there, and just kind of hope for the best that I put everything back to normal. So I avoid stuff like that by simply adjusting the transformation point, placing it where I want it to be. Well, I actually have to run the command first. I put the registration point there. I'll run the command. So that forces it to be right there. Now the commands can be installed like manually here. If they're not, then you can install them yourself. Let's see here. I'm going to put it right there. Command, run command, pivot reset. Boom. So now that little registration point is there, so if I want it to be right there, then I just run it. And then when I go ahead and try to rig it, Puppet Producer knows that it needs to place it there. Same thing here. I'm going to put it right there. Run. Now, of course, the idea is that all these commands, I'm going to put them back into Puppet Producer, so they're like little functions within the program itself. They're still experimental right now, so let's see here. There we go.